In a busy village, there was a man whose life seemed ruled by his own stormy emotions. Anger would sweep through his days like a fierce storm, leaving him feeling helpless. Peace was a distant memory, and his mind felt like a field of wild thorns, pricking him and those around him. Desperate for change, he sought out an elder known for his wisdom, hoping to escape the prison of his own emotions. When he reached the elder's humble home, he poured out his heart. "I can't control my anger," he admitted, his voice tinged with desperation. "It comes so fast, and when it does, I feel like I have no control. I end up hurting those I love, and afterward, all I have is regret. Please teach me how to find peace." The elder, with eyes that held a lifetime of understanding, nodded. "Sit with me," he said, motioning to the ground beside him. "Let me tell you a story." The man sat down, his despair heavy in the air, and the elder began. "Once there was a ruler, a man of great wealth and power, who ruled a prosperous land. Despite all his riches, he was known for his quick temper. One day he decided to visit a neighboring kingdom ruled by a wise man whose counsel was sought by both kings and commoners. The powerful ruler hoped to learn from this wise man's reputation. The elder's voice softened, drawing the man into the tale. When the ruler arrived, he was welcomed with great honor. The wise ruler had prepared a feast so lavish it could make the finest palaces envious. As the ruler began to eat, he saw a fly in his soup. Instantly, his face twisted with disgust, and he slammed his fist on the table, demanding a new dish. His eyes blazed with fury and his hands shook. The wise ruler didn't react. Instead, he smiled gently and said, "Your Majesty, it's only a fly. Don't let it disturb your peace. It's your reaction that has spoiled the feast, not the fly itself." But the powerful ruler, still fuming, replied, "I can't ignore such things. Even a small annoyance like this is enough to ruin my mood." The wise ruler then spoke words heavy with truth. "You've allowed something as insignificant as a fly to control you. It's not the fly that's stolen your peace, but your reaction. You could have chosen to ignore it, but you let it rule your mind. True power isn't about ruling others, but about ruling oneself." The man sat silently, absorbing the story as the elder continued. The visiting ruler was taken aback. He realized that his quick temper had revealed a weakness, a place where even a fly held power over him. He left the kingdom ashamed, but the words stayed with him. Over time, he began to practice patience, and subtle changes followed. His people saw a softer side to him, and he became known not just for his power, but for his wisdom. The elder looked at the man with kind, steady eyes. There was another man, much like you, who found himself a prisoner of his own reactions. He realized that each time he let anger take control, he gave away a piece of his own freedom. So he started small. Each time he felt anger stir, he would pause, breathe, and ask himself if his reaction was worth the cost of his peace. The man nodded, as if seeing himself in the elder's story. His shoulders eased, and the tightness in his chest loosened. "But isn't it hard?" he asked softly. "I feel my anger so strongly, it's like a fire, and I'm afraid it'll consume me." The elder leaned in, his voice a gentle murmur. "Yes, it is hard. But each time you pause and choose not to react, you strengthen yourself. You reclaim pieces of your mind. You may not stop the fire from flaring, but you can choose not to feed it. And with each choice, you gain more control." The man took a deep breath, his eyes glistening with relief and hope. He thanked the elder and left, feeling the weight of his own journey ahead, but also a glimmer of strength, the sense that maybe he had the power to change. In the days that followed, he practiced patience. When anger rose, he would pause and remember the elder's story of the ruler who tamed his heart. Slowly, he began to notice a shift. The fire was still there, but he was learning not to let it consume him. He found he could hold his peace even when tested, and his life grew richer for it. Over time, he became known not for his temper, but for his calm. People came to him for advice, drawn by the peace he carried. And though the journey wasn't easy, he knew that each small victory over his anger was a step toward freedom. The story of the two rulers, the one who couldn't control himself and the one who learned to, reminds us that our reactions shape our lives. True strength lies in mastering our emotions, choosing peace over impulse,